You're listening to the RM Show as you do every week, and my guest today is no one else that Mr. Hugues Efole, who's with me, who's joining me. I don't know exactly where, but he's going to tell us. Hugues, it's such a pleasure to have you today. Can you tell us, please, where you are exactly?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me, Jose, and Roger for you English speaking. I am in Redondo Beach, California, so I'm in California. Based here. I used to be based in Dallas for a couple of years, but I'm back in California. So that's where I am coming in from. Great to see you, my friend.
Good to see you too, Hugues. My question tonight, and I'm glad you're doing that because we're talking about businesses, in my show with so many other people. So I wanted to kind of have to introduce you also to the world out there who don't really know, and about not only about you, but also about the international business that you do. So let's start with, I introduced you on my title as the head of business development corridors, right? But can you tell us exactly what do you do and what's that entitled?
The head of global business development for Moneygram, but I manage the Americas portfolio. And under that title, I also manage the corridor development for Moneygram. So what that simply means is I am head of sales. So what we do is, as you know, Moneygram International is one of the top 2 or 3 global remittance company. Mm-hmm. We're based in Dallas, Texas, and we operate in over 200 countries globally, 400,000 plus agents globally. So my job is basically to create partners or to find partners for MoneyGram in the area of cross-border bill payment as well as money transfers. Mm-hmm. So that's what my job entails, as well as my team members of my team. We go out there, find partners for MoneyGram to allow your audience members, your customers and whatnot to be able to leverage MoneyGram and send money to the loved one across the world and pay bills as well. That's what I do.
Wow, this is great. This is great. And this, also, it's really important because that's exactly what I wanted to talk about, the international part of it, in which Moneygram and you guys operate globally, and very, very interesting. So what's the, how do you go, how does your day-to-day kind of operation goes? How do you reach out to the world? How do you start working and reaching out to all this, the part of the world that you actually in charge of? How did that happen? For those who want to know, okay, so you're the head of corridors. What does that mean exactly? And I can, in the language where someone will really understand.
Mm-hmm. This seems like work, but it isn't really work. And I say this in the most simplistic terms, in the most humble way, because prior to joining MoneyGram, I've been with MoneyGram for about 15 years now. Prior to joining MoneyGram, like most immigrants, our family sacrificed for all of us to be in the United States, in Canada, in Europe or whatnot, right? So we have a responsibility at the end of the day to find, whatever, no matter what time it is, no matter COVID or not COVID, to still work and send some of the money back home to care for your loved ones. Right? So as a consumer, so I wear different hats. I am a consumer of MoneyGram, but I'm also an employee of MoneyGram and business leader and whatnot. So to put it simply, what I do, my day starts, depending on where it is, because we have partners globally. Being in California, you're a little bit on a disadvantage because I wake up at 5 a.m. Thank God I'm working from my home office, but 5 a.m. that's when my first call is. Today was Friday. I had a call at 5 o'clock, so I had to get up at 4:30. Jump on a call with the pandemic. All of us are forced to work remotely, right, virtually. So WebEx calls such as this one, rendezvous calls such as this one. This is the typical format. So about 50% of the day at the executive level, at this level, 50% is about strategic decisions, right? How do we position ourselves? What partners do we attract? How do we convey the message that we have, that we still one of the top, if not, we offer the best service out there, I believe, in terms of remittances,
Mm-hmm.
all things included, cost, fees, FX, and whatnot, and locations. We offer the best product. How do we reach out to the next customer? So every single day, my goal and my team job is, how do I get one more customer, one more partner, one more every single day? Like you hear people say, it's about selling. You keep selling, sell, and get those partners that would add value to the brand and to the network that we have. So I don't know if that's simplistic enough, but that just tells you
Oh,
what we
that
do.
is.
Yeah,
That is, and
yeah.
you mentioned you had just mentioned you know that you actually working at your home office, and obviously as we know, they this COVID-19 has impacted so many people, and especially you guys in business. Did that change anything drastically on your day-to-day operation, or you guys as an organization, pretty much?
It did.
Mm-hmm.
It did, in just like everybody else. So our platform, the way MoneyGram operates, is we have what we call brick and mortar partners. The banks and the retailers, the grocery stores that you see down the street, CVS, Walmart. Those are the brick and mortar kind of our partners that we have, the larger one, right?
Mm-hmm.
But outside of that, we also MoneyGram is engaged into a digital, what we call a digital transformation of our business.
Mm-hmm.
And quite frankly, and I got to give credit to our CEO Alex Holmes and our executive leadership team for being visionary, because we launched a campaign about I want to say about 7 to 8 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
where we wanted to we went into this digital transformation of the organization. We were
Mm-hmm.
promoting our app.
Right.
So our MoneyGram app has recorded triple digit growth year over year, and one of the fastest growing apps in terms of people downloading, and then using it to send money. And we started this venture prior to the pandemic. So it was visionary, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you saw the market moving more digital now. So we wanted to offer customers the best service that it could possibly get, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now you can download our app. You go to our Google Play or Apple Store. You can download MoneyGram application, and at the disposal at your house, you could actually send money globally
Wow.
without leaving your house, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that gave us an edge
Mm-hmm.
over perhaps some of the competitors, and having a brand name like MoneyGram and combining that with great service makes it easier for people to continue to come and visit our website and use our app and send money globally. So that's how it impacted us. Now so the positive impact was MoneyGram Online.
Mm-hmm.
Was that
Right.
kind of took a surge, right? But the not so positive side was, and it was not just a MoneyGram thing, but the whole market, the whole global remittance market suffered a little bit, because again, now there were limitations. Social distancing played a role.
Right.
Now you couldn't go to the store and stand in line and be there for too long. Some stores, some retail, some on our walk-in business, it suffered a little bit. You saw people kind of not wanting to stay in line anymore, but we saw a surge on the online. So while there was a decline on the
On the
walk-in
website.
brick and mortar, you saw a spike
Mm-hmm.
on the money transfer. But in reality, net, we didn't see a big of a big of a decline as predicted by the World Bank. The World Bank predicted
Right.
that it would be a 20% decline in the remittance market. Now, to give you some perspective, this is a $650 billion market annually.
Mm-hmm.
This is how much money folks send, right? Move globally, right?
Mm-hmm.
So a 20% haircut is pretty significant.
Mm-hmm.
But what we've seen so far is more of a 6 to 7% decline rather than the 20% decline that was previously anticipated.
Mm-hmm.
And that's mainly driven also by the fact that, immigrants like you and myself, a lot of our friends and family are essential workers. Those are the folks that are still out there at the store, as nurses and so on and so forth. So as most people couldn't go to work anymore, we just cannot afford not to go to work. You got to pay rent, you got to pay car note, you got to send money home. So immigrants, a resilient bunch, a bunch of us find a way to get another job. I need to be out there to feed, to provide for my family. So as a result of it, they end up sending money as well. So it's all, at the end, it all balanced out. But we can't wait until we get to some degree.
We can't wait. And you mentioned that, your CEO and you guys have been so creative on finding ways. You got to adapt quickly. I guess it's part of doing business, right? You always have to be ready to adapt. And I know, Mr. Efole, that you're busy, that we're going to let you go, but I have a few more questions here, just a couple more. What are the, and I like the way you're really making it simple for us, because we're understanding exactly your day-to-day operation, but what are the greatest challenges that you have faced doing business internationally, because that's how you operate. As I'm repeating myself, you operate globally. What are the challenges that you encounter doing business internationally?
But it's about licensing. You got to get licensed in the right place. So, and also the risk involved. We move money globally, right? MoneyGram today, we have access to over 2 billion bank accounts, meaning you can send money from here to anyone's bank account in places where money can be sent directly into a bank account. So with that opportunity comes also a huge amount of risks, right? Because now you got to make sure that the right people are receiving the intended money, that funds are not, no one is using our channels for means that are illegal or whatnot, right? So the challenge becomes when for the most part 99% of our agents are great agents, and no issues there, but for the very few that kind of go right instead of going left, or left instead of going right in terms of business, in terms of business practice, and it creates an exposure for the organization. Fraud is another element that creates a big risk or a big challenge, right? Because all it takes is one bad apple to tag an entire community. I'll tell you, just if you allow me.
Oh, yeah, totally. I have my time. I need to hear. I'm the one learning here.
the challenge as an African from Congo, who understands the nuances of different culture, not just my own African. I had a privilege of working with South Asian, Pacific Islanders, Latin American, and American, and European, and so on and so forth, right? So all of us, at the end of the day, want to send money. We do it the right way. Now, when one community or one person uses this platform to do fraudulent transactions, then our compliance bits, it's easy for a lot of companies to just look at it and say, well, all right, we're getting those emails from this group of people, right? And they're defrauding people. So all of a sudden, the perception becomes it's the whole community, when it's not the whole community. It's a small token of the community that might have been involved in that. And that paints the wrong picture to it. But luckily, with our algorithm, with our compliance team, we have a diverse group of folks from different places of the world, so that they understand those nuances, to make sure that our computers and our rules that we put in place for the business are consistent with what we're seeing in the market, so that we don't have a lot of false positive and blocking the wrong people and whatnot. So challenges it comes with the territory, because you're moving a lot of money daily. But I think every single day there's no dull moment here, because you are always able to facilitate the process of somebody caring for the loved ones globally. So to me, I look at it as more good days in the office than bad days in the office as a result.
And good things that you guys don't generalize. When you have that bad seed, you don't just generalize. That's a really good. Now, to hear you talking, and I'm sure you encounter, one of the maybe one of few worst things that that have happened to you, doing business internationally. What are the worst thing or worst experience you can share with us tonight?
The business decision is that you got to move away from that because of some unknown circumstances, or some background that's something that came up where we have to shut down a relationship, or where we had to exit relationship. So that could be a bad one. But the second one is also, look, this is a competitive market. You have number one, number two, number three, and different players. And sometimes it's not always the best news to hear that a competitor has come in and encroach into your territory, right? But luckily for me, and we've been blessed with our team here, MoneyGram, we've done the encroaching more than everybody else. So we've taken over a lot more business than people have taken over from us. So that's again,
good for you guys.
that's kind of a nudge on for my team, and for everybody who works hard at MoneyGram, that we've been able to earn the business of a lot of business partners out there because they see the value that we bring as an organization and as people.
Well, my last question, Mr. Efole, is what would you, what would be, how should I put it? What advice would you give to someone who's planning to work internationally, globally, not just necessarily in the kind of business that you do, but internationally, just to deal with the rest of the world outside of the U.S. What advice would you give them?
I think first and foremost, it's exciting. Okay, it removes the monotonous and the same thing every day. You do the same thing, so it's exciting. You've got to be. It starts with what you've always wanted to do when you were a young kid. I think you and I spoke a couple of years ago, and the story for me starts with what got me excited when I was 10, 11 years old. And to me, people who know me will tell you that I'm a people's person. I enjoy meeting different folks, meeting different, reading different books and understanding different languages. I enjoy that. You've got to enjoy that because that's what the world is about today. So as you're aspiring to get into working into an environment that's global, number one.
That's what I was about to ask you. What did you do? How do you do it? Because it's so hard. I mean, how do you do?
No, but believe it or not, there's courses out there across universities. This course that I took was called intercultural communication. All right, intercultural communication class, and I took that at Cal State Northridge here, where I graduated from. But that class allowed you to literally understand the nuances between cultures and how do you adapt into different environments. So my major was finance and real estate, but it was one of the electives at the end. I was like, you know what? I want to read. I want to take that class. And lo and behold, that class allowed me to understand. So if I'm speaking to a Pacific Islander, what do I need to do? How do I communicate with them? Religion is important. How do you affiliate? How do you deal with different people from different culture? It is extremely important. Do you go to an African store, at the beginning of the day and sell them directly, or do you buy something from them first before you sell them something? All right. So those are the items that we grew up with, where they say, well, the first thing you do when you see an older person, don't put your hand up, right? You got to wait until they put the hand, then you shake their hand. Those values, believe it or not, even though you and I are from Africa and Congo or whatnot, those values that we learned when we were children are universal values, because those are respect, compassion, just professionalism. Once you maintain that, those are the foundation that will help you navigate through any country in the world and be able to assimilate rather easily. So I kind of went a few places, but hopefully your audience will be able to pick and choose.
Totally. Like, it makes so much sense. Like, I've learned a lot in this short period of time. I feel like I was taking a class.
It's always great to see you and chat with you.
Well, Hugues Boketsu Efole, thank you so much. Let me remind everybody again that Mr. Efole is the head of business development and corridors at MoneyGram. Thank you so much for your time, sir. I know you're busy. You have to go. We really appreciate the time that you've given us tonight.
The pleasure is mine, and have a great rest of the week. weekend and enjoy the rest of the year. So we'll see you soon, my friend. Be
Take
well.
care, sir. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Ouvimos aqui em Moneygram, é um dos programas da Voz da América que bate mais. Vais dormir sem ouvir o RM? Não faças isso. Todos os dias, à noite, boa música é no show do RM. Não percam.
نريد RM سكتير.
RM Show est venu gagner le Giza et le monde musique.